unmuted.
Today is January 17th, 2024.
Item number 1, call to order. Alex Miranda,
Present.
Albert Ortiz,
Present.
Andres Chavez,
Present.
Claudia Olmos,
Present.
Cassandra Muro,
Present.
and Carlos Ortiz is absent. Item number 2, Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. And no speakers for public comment. Consent agenda, excuse absent commissioners. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Alex Miranda,
Yes.
Albert Ortiz,
Yes.
Andres Chavez,
Yes.
Claudia Olmos,
Yes.
Cassandra Muro,
Yes.
and Carlos Ortiz is absent. Regular agenda, item number 6, discussion and action approving the amendment to ordinance 186, amendment 5.
Good evening, Commissioners. Carol Candelaria here, HR Director. This subject is to discuss the action and approving the amendment to the ordinance 186, amendment number 5. And if we can go to section 15, item K, under special provisions. In this action, it has to do with temporary promotions of individuals that are being promoted on an interim basis. So what this change is to allow the city manager to make changes to our existing amendment to exceed from a 6-month process to until the individual returns back from their leave. The only time that this leave would be approved is if they're out for sick, for medical, or for military leave. So this allows the city manager to extend that 6-month initial interim basis until such time that that person returns. So the HR department is requesting your approval for this amendment. On section 19, which is under the resignation section, this allows the city manager to rescinds the resignation notice for anybody that resigns their position, as long as they do so within a 90-day period of time. This will allow the city manager to allow that rescission of that resignation to occur. So at this time, the HR department is requesting that you amend those two sections in our ordinance 186, number 6, 186, amendment number 5. Do we have any questions at this time?
The approval or the extension for, medical or military leave, is that at the discretion of the city manager? It can be indefinite, or is there?
Mr. Chavez, would you speak into the mic?
The leave that you are requesting the city manager have control over extending?
Yes, sir.
Is that kind of a case-by-case basis, or is there some sort of standard that we're setting as far as how much you can extend, or?
So for example, if at the present time we have someone that's out on military leave, okay, and that person exceeds the original 6 months, then the city manager will have the authorization to extend it until such time that individual returns back. If that individual, for some unforeseen reason, does not return, resigns, then of course at that point, then that extension would expire.
Okay.
Okay.
So same thing for medical leave, if they're out and say there's complications on certain procedures and it extends over those 6 months, is there no timeline for a return? Is what I'm saying, that after the 6 months, there's no cap on,
Each case would be determined based on the circumstances, on individual basis, and to determine what the anticipated return could be.
okay.
So it would not be an indefinite period of time.
So what's the standard practice of, I know you want to extend it to the 30 days of what we have right now. But the way it was being mentioned, so promotions of what type? Or temporary interim, like?
Interim. So
so-
for example, if, again, I'll use the military. So if we have someone, one of our lieutenants that happens to be out on military leave, keep in mind that they're allowed up to 26 for 2 years, that they can be out on extended military leave. So if there is a need to fill in that position and we have a qualified candidate, then that position will be filled on an interim basis internally for that period of time, until such time that lieutenant returns back to active duty, back to work.
So
Okay.
it's mainly just so that we could have that position filled in
Exactly.
general for the time, okay?
Exactly, sir.
And as a general practice, would that position on an interim basis be filled internally always? Or would you look for outside candidates depending on?
If there is not a qualified candidate to fill that need internally, then of course we would have to look elsewhere outside the city. And again, it would be on an interim basis.
On 19,
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry.
No, no.
For 19,
Yes, sir.
for the resignation,
Yes, sir.
and is this on any position, or is it on a administrative position, or on?
The decision on this was for any position. So an individual turns in a resignation, and then for some reason, they want to rescind it based on the circumstances on why the rescinding wants to be done. Evaluation will be determined whether or not there's any marks against that person's file, et cetera. Then the city manager will have the ultimate decision to decide whether or not to rescind that resignation.
Does that put the city somewhat in a bind? Let's say, streets and maintenance. You have an individual that resigns for whatever reasons. They put out the job description, the job posting, and then you have applicants come in and what have you. Does that put the city in a bind of holding that position for 90 days, for up to 90 days because of this? Or can that position be filled and then that individual thinking that he's got, well, you know what, I still have 90 days to come back, so then if it's already filled, there's no position for that individual, so what happens then?
Well, then at that point, because there is not a vacancy available, then that position may not be, that resignation may not be rescinded. There has to be a vacancy available.
So should we put that language in here as well?
I will defer that to our attorney, Bruce.
That's fine.
I don't, I don't think that's gonna be necessary because it's within the sole discretion of the city manager.
Okay.
And whoever the city manager is will make the decision, and if there's no open position available, then any request for rescission of the resignation would be denied at that point. So I think that, you know, we wrote the policy to give the city manager maximum discretion. And
Okay.
so, that's what she would do currently, or he or she would do in the future.
Okay, just making sure that we don't put
No, it's an
the
excellent
city
question.
on
Yeah.
something that is like, hey, I had 90 days and you didn't fulfill what it says right there, so, that's,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there any additional questions that we have?
I'm good.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second,
Alex Miranda,
yes.
Albert Ortiz,
Yes.
Andres Chavez,
Aye.
Claudia Olmos,
Yes.
and Cassandra Muro.
Yes.
Albert Ortiz is absent. I'm sorry, Carlos Ortiz.
Hey.
It's a good ventriloquist.
Item number 7, discussion and action to set a date for grievance hearing for Ricky Norte.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Carol Candelaria here. This action is to request a date for a grievance to hear Mr. Ricky Norton's grievance. He was terminated, and so he has appealed a grievance to be heard. So we do ask for a date and time so we can hear this grievance.
Next month.
I move to approve for next month, or do we, this is was this meeting a special meeting?
Yes.
Are
This
we-
was a special meeting,
So are
yes,
we
sir.
still gonna meet on the 22nd or the 29th of this month?
26th of, no, we're not meeting another meeting for this month. We'll meet on the 26th of February. That's our next meeting.
Yeah. Can we set that meeting for, does it have to be on that Monday?
No.
Because I believe I am out of the country on the 26th.
You can set the date whenever
I
you want,
mean, if we want to do it that week, that's fine. I'll be here on the 27th.
unless you
it's the
want to do it in March. It's up to when you all want to
I
do
mean, we
it.
don't want to, we want to kind of get to the grievance, as well. Just the 26th doesn't work for me. The 27th does. It's just that Monday I'll be flying back in. It's just
I'm good for
the
27th.
27th.
It's better to do this.
Oh,
Okay. About the 28th, we got an extra day on, this February, so.
Yeah, right.
let's do it on the 29th on leap
On the
year.
29th, yeah.
The 29th
Okay,
falls on
yeah.
what date? Ms.
Thursday.
Oliva?
It's a Thursday.
On a
Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Do we have council meetings? Do we have anything on the agenda for
Not
that date?
council meeting.
Yeah.
The council meetings are the first and third.
Yeah.
So it'll be on the 1st and the 15th.
Oh, yeah.
So the 29th,
29th is fine.
do we have a motion?
If there is any interruption, it would be the Board of Adjustments meeting for that date.
They can go
Just
to
so
a
we can-
different chamber.
No, because we needed to be here because.
It's scheduled for the
Esteban-
22nd?
Oh, so we're good.
Okay.
29th.
29th?
Okay.
Okay, February 29th.
Motion for next meeting, February 29th.
I second it.
Alex Miranda,
Yes.
Carlos Ortiz,
Yes.
Andres Chavez. Claudia Olmos,
Yes.
Cassandra Muro,
Yes.
and Carlos Ortiz is absent. Item number 8, update on policy 506A, overtime uniformed employee policy.
Good evening, Commissioners. Robert C. Rojas, Chief of Police for the City of Socorro. So I'm here to update the policy of 506A, the overtime uniformed employee policy. This action is to discuss the updated 506A overtime uniformed employees policy. We tried to do this, I believe, last month, and we were unable to get a quorum. So we went to council for approval, and this is just to kind of backtrack and ratify that we did everything correctly. So we're here to answer any questions if you have, but what it is it's adopting an 84-hour work week for the police personnel. So that instead of doing a 40-hour work week or an 80-hour bi-weekly, it's an 84 bi-weekly work week. And it's to enable my agency to go to transition to 12-hour shifts. And I'll take any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
It's just an update.
It's just a-
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Alex Miranda,
Yes.
Albert Ortiz,
Yes.
Andres Chavez,
Aye.
Claudia Olmos,
Yes.
Cassandra Muros,
Yes.
and Carlos Ortiz is absent. And we adjourn at 6:15.
Thank you all for joining.